I've been personally involved in the Line 3 struggle, like this massive tar sands pipeline, for almost, what was it, like 6 years now? It's crazy to think about.
So what's it like on the ground?
Well, I mean, this particular hill, actually, the last time I was up here, the sheriff was like cruising by, like gonna arrest me for being on a hill, you know, like that's the kind of scene that I'm in, right?
Wow.
Heavily surveilled. There's drones over our camp. There's security that patrols this road out in the middle of nowhere. People usually don't really know what's going on until folks start getting hurt and you start seeing like a standing rock, you know, with like people being maced and like, you know, tear gassed and all that terrible brutality. But what we've been doing is like, you know, scouting and learning this, you know, like learning the intricate places of this route. You know, being in the forest, being with the wetlands, being in all these places and spaces, to monitor activity of this company, to expose the illegal activity of this company, and to resist and stop the illegal activity of this company.
And what is this pipeline cutting through? What does the land mean to you and to your camp?
You know, for me personally, and this is something that I think, you know, I hope happens in the climate movement generally, which is, you know, centering the land in a real way, because the land is a living being. Land is something that's going to be here when we're gone. We're just here for a moment, right? Like that's the reality of being a human being, and that's understanding our place in the circle of life, that we are momentary, and that we, you know, either make children or we don't, but the land will be here for that next generation. It's what condition are we going to hand it off in? And this place to me is a place where we're told to come by Creator. It's where the food grows on water. It's wild rice. That is the centerpiece of who I am as an Anishinaabe woman. It is this beautiful grain that grows on top of the lakes that we harvest in canoes. You know, our collective is mostly young people, so I've been teaching young people how to knock rice for the first time, how to grow rice, or how to be part of like parching and roasting and making food. It's been really, really beautiful, but that's what I'm talking about. And so the pipeline isn't just like, you know, 50 coal-fired plants emissions every day. It's not just this massive energy consumption and continuation of fossil fuels and climate change and all that. It's also the eradication of culture. You know, a spill would wipe out the wild rice beds. And it's not just the spills, it's what happens when you're digging through a wetland. You know, what are you doing to the ecosystem in that area with all the sediment and all that?
Not to give them any airtime, but who's the company and are they connected to the banks?
Yeah, of course. The company is Enbridge Inc. It is a Canadian multinational. It's the biggest pipeline, you know, infrastructure company in North America. It's one of the biggest ones in the world. This project is one of the largest tar sands infrastructure projects in North America. It is a massive, massive project. It's a company that's backed by Chase Bank, by Citibank, by Bank of America, by Wells Fargo. Those are some of the big ones. It's backed by the same offenders that you would expect to see. Chase Bank is the largest funder of fossil fuels in the world. If you ever want to learn more about divestment and that particular approach, which has been very effective at pushing these guys, at shoving them forward, because that's their money, right? Like, they might not listen to the morality of like eradicating our culture, but they will listen to money. Mm-hmm. They will always listen to that pocketbook, because that's what drives them, right? Please visit stopthemoneypipeline.com. GNU Collective is one of the founding members of that. There's lots of ways to figure out who's behind the projects, who's doing it. How do I put my money somewhere that's good? That's a real way to get involved. For young people, maybe not a lot of us have mortgages. I know I don't. I just have a lot of student loans. But if you do have a mortgage, imagine 10 people taking their mortgages out. I mean, that's a chunk of change, you know, and it's real. So,
is there anything that feels positive in the midst of your community organizing?
Part of the reason I'm also here is because I needed to take a break from hearing the trees getting raised on the land, and to not hear bulldozers cutting into the earth. That's really painful personally to me. But there's also like this incredible amount of, I mean, just fire and beauty and power in seeing young people harvest wild rice for the first time, seeing young people up in trees blockading a machine from destroying the earth. It's powerful to see a young person who is literally chained to a machine stopping it from moving. That is power, and that is the amount of like reward you see on somebody's face when they've eaten food that they've grown, when they've stopped a multinational machine from working, even if it's just for a day, even if it's just for 5 hours. I mean, that is direct engagement. That is not incremental change, which is what most of the climate movement does. That is direct, and it is bravery, and it is taking everything that you know and really living by it. It's living those values that you say, you have, right? Which is, for a lot of us, it's, we love the earth, we love our mother, we want to give it to the next generation, and we're willing to be uncomfortable to do that. I mean, that's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to see.